Hello, good evening, very welcome back everybody to your Diploma in Graphic Design Part 1, Lesson 9. A quick shout out guys, make sure everyone can hear me out there. Hiya Sama Awad out there, hiya Linda as well, Emily Morrison, hiya Anne and Nikki Hayes coming through loud and clear. Hiya Cormac again out there, Doris, Garth Williams, Carla. Everyone coming through there loud and clear, it seems indeed. Your Premi as well, Nikita, Ruan as well, Felicity. Okay, coming through, good to be back, says Alan. Okay, good to see you again. Hiya, perfect. Okay, coming through loud and clear. Does not seem to be any issues there this evening, guys. Thanks very much for that. So let's move on with today's lesson. So today we're looking at basically Photoshop for digital and for the web, and how we can sort of use Photoshop when we're designing essentially for screen and for the web basically as well. And like I said, big thank you to all of those people who obviously took advantage of our brilliant discounted membership to Shaw Academy. So I just want to welcome all of you new members on board as well, and looking forward to seeing you all very soon as well, guys. So today basically, guys, okay, so today basically guys, we're going to be looking at something like this. Now we're not going to have time, unfortunately, to go through all of this in detail, but what I want to go through with you today basically guys is techniques for creating this type of layout and how we go about it as designers, basically creating web page mockups in Photoshop, which a lot of designers will do initially, obviously to get sign off and things like that before then finally handing over to your web designer, web developer. Or if you have the skills necessary yourselves, well, if you have all those coding skills, you should be able to complete this yourselves as well, folks. So like I said, what I'm going to go through basically is how to set up your document initially, and then how to basically create buttons, create those nice gradiented backdrops, all of this type of thing as well. And we're going to go through then because lots of people have been asking me about specific techniques. Lots of people wondering about the sort of Apple, I guess, techniques for creating reflections and shadows and things like that. And just basically making your images look really nice on screen, okay? Okay, so brilliant. Lots of people looking forward to this as well, guys. Okay, brilliant. Christopher Els, okay, is asking about, he says, I logged on to win the very special prize that I was giving out, and I will be announcing the winner at the end of the lesson as well, Christopher. Okay, so stay tuned for that as well. No problem with that. Okay, so guys, I just need to switch over to my Photoshop screen, so give me just a few seconds here to switch over to my Photoshop screen and make sure everyone can see it then in front of you. So we'll be back to you now very shortly. Okay, and we should be back there again. Just double checking everybody can see my Photoshop screen opened up in front of me there. Everyone can see that? Yeah? Okay, that's great. So let's start at the start, guys. Like I said, I want to go through basically the tips and techniques for creating each of these elements as opposed to putting it all together, because I would need about 3 hours to go through the whole lot. But like I said, I will give you the tools that you need yourselves, guys. First of all, you will notice all my little red lines on my screen there, guys. When designing for web and for screen as well, it is always a good idea to work off what we call a grid system. Now, an extremely popular and sort of becoming industry standard for designing for web is to use what we call a 960 pixel grid system. Okay, so it's basically 960 pixels across where all of our elements are contained within the page. So just to give you an idea of what I mean by that, just going to open up something here for you for a second. Just to give you an idea of what I actually mean by that is something like this, okay? So this is essentially what we call a 960 grid. We have 12 columns and we have a 20 pixel gutter between each of them then. So if I switch back and forward my screens now as well, you can see what I mean. The reason we use what's called a 960 grid is basically because it's nice and divisible by lots and lots of numbers. It's divisible by 80, which is really handy, which means we can have a full grid all the way across. We can subdivide that by 2, subdivide it by 4, by 3, by 6, and so on. So that basically when your website or wherever it is, it may be displayed on different devices, it will mean it will scale nicely down to those, especially when it comes to what we call responsive design too. But like I said, it's a really good idea even before you begin to start out with a pen and paper and decide where each and every one of your elements is supposed to be going. Okay, decide where each of your elements is supposed to go on first, even like I said, on a pen and with pen and paper, and then you can set it into motion then in your Photoshop screen. So what I'm going to do very quickly before we go on with actually designing your elements is show you how to achieve this type of thing very, very quickly as well. Okay, so I'm going to open up. I'm just going to go to File, New. Going to open up a new document. I'm obviously going to make it, I will make it 960. Generally you will see designers using some outside area too on the page as well. Okay, but all your elements will be contained within this 960 grid. Okay, so double checking, is that clear to everyone so far? You understand why this is happening? Mark Cabana is asking, does it have a higher res like 1200? When you're designing for things like retina displays and things like that, Mark, okay, you can increase it, but this is a little bit more of an advanced topic too, but that's generally your elements on your page as opposed to your actual grid system itself. So I'm going to click OK. And again, guys, by the way, okay, you can see my document type. I'm in pixels because I'm designing for the web. My resolution is 72 pixels per inch. And my color mode is, of course, RGB because I'm designing now for screen and for digital and for the web, guys. So make sure you understand that too. RGB for screen, okay, CMYK for print. So I'm just going to click OK for a second. And here I have my basic setup. Now, the next thing I want to do is make sure that all my my increments are correct. So I'm going to go up to Edit, down to Preferences. Just going to open my General Preferences actually. Open up my General Preferences. And this should open up here for you. Now, it's quite an intimidating looking UI here, but don't be too put off by that because all I'm worried about is for my grids and guide slices down here. So my grids and guide slices, I just clicked on it there. You can make them any colors you want, by the way, guys. I left mine nice and bright and red so everyone can see. But the main things I'm concerned about here is my grid, okay? And my grid here, I have it divided every 80 pixels. You can see that I'm using 80 because it goes into 960 quite effectively. Okay, obviously 12 times. And I'm subdividing that into subdivisions of 4. So that means then I'm essentially going to have a little grid line every 20 pixels. Okay, so 80 pixels for my full one, and then I've subdivided these into subdivisions of 4. You can change these to whatever you want, guys, okay? But for today's purposes, this is what we are going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I'm happy enough with all of that there for now. The next thing I need to then, before I set up my actual grade, is to display my rulers. So I'm going to go up to View, Control R, by the way, is your shortcut. Alright, so Control R, turn on my rulers. And that means then I can start dragging out my lines, okay? I'm also actually going to turn on my grid. So again, go up to View, and I'm going to go to Show. And again, guys, please remember your shortcuts. Don't forget to refer to your graphic design starter pack. All of these shortcuts are in it. So to turn on your grid, it's Control and apostrophe. So you can see it there, guys. Turn on your grid. Control and apostrophe is a shortcut, but you can also go under View and Show. So there is my grid all turned on now. And now what I might want to do, you can see if I go back to my original, like I said, I don't need to go through all of this in detail because once you do it once, it's the same for each of the rest of them. You can see my original here then, guys. I have it all nice and subdivided up here and all my elements equally spaced then within that too, following that grid order. So like I said, just to set up your grid initially anyway, I'm going back to my original, you can simply start dragging out, once you have your ruler selected, simply start dragging out. And you will see then my little red lines appearing on my screen then as well, guys. Okay, so it's very, very handy. And if you want to even subdivide then a little bit also, you can also do that. And it's the same for horizontal as it is for vertical, guys, okay? So say, for example, I want my menu to be my top part here. I'll maybe drag down from the top. Say I want my sort of a banner area then. Maybe I want to make it 4 increments. Okay, so 4/8 is 32, so it'll be 300 pixels high. Okay, I can just click that down there. I know that's going to my banner area. Maybe go down again, maybe my footer area. So put all of this in place first before you go designing, and it will save you lots and lots of time. You will know where to place each of the elements. Okay, Prenny's asking where do we get the grid? Under View, Show and Grid. View, Show, Grid, or Control and apostrophe is where you get that grid as well. Okay. So just give me a second. There are a few questions coming through there for that now. Okay, just a second. Yeah, okay, everything is there. That's okay. So everyone happy with that again? Manage is just a quick one. Ask about the preferences. Go up to edit and preferences, and you can open up either or. You can open up your grids and guide slices, or if you want to open up your whole general, that is where you get it. Okay, so before we move on, guys, that makes sense now. Like I said, there's no point in me going through each of these in detail here, because we'd be here basically all day. That makes sense, everyone out there so far. Like I said, even start with a pen and paper, guys. Even start with a pen and paper before you open up any of this. You can also, if you want to, by the way, you can also maybe start downloading some pings with your grids already on them. So for example, I'll zoom in here. Okay, this is the 960 grid system. This should be 960 there, but anyway. So here we have 60, 860, 140. You can see all the subdivisions of them there, folks, okay? So like I said, it is always a good idea. Create it before you even start, and then you'll know exactly where all your elements are going to be placed within your design. So I'm just going to turn mine off there, for example. So very quickly, going back to my own one there, I obviously have my banner area, the whole width. I have 3 increments there for my services section. Okay, I can then move down with my recent work. I have it subdivided into 4 sections. Move down the page then, why clients choose us, what clients say, into 2 sections. And then finally, for my footer area, subdivided then into 4 sections. Okay, so like I said, great idea to get all this out of the way before you start. Because generally, if you're trying to sort of shoehorn in or squeeze something into a design that's already been created, it will cause you issues. So lay everything out first before you even begin. Okay? Now, okay, I think that makes sense to everyone out there so far. Great. So let's move on then, like you said. So let's zoom in here for a second. Say, for example, you want to create something like a nice gradiented banner area there with my little sort of, my little boxes here, okay? I'm just going to create a new document. File, new. I'm going to make it 960. Again, you can make these a little bit larger as well. It doesn't matter because you can go off the page too. But for, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to keep my numbers nice and even. Make it maybe about 400 high. Click OK. Okay, and there you have then my banner area. I'm now going to select a nice sort of lighter grey. Okay, I'm a big fan of my greys, by the way, guys. Sort of neutral colours. They always work well on my sites. Okay, so click OK. I don't need to go on to a new layer, but I kind of want to, but don't generally need to, but I just have a habit of doing it. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call that BG for my background. And say I want to get in that sort of textured feel. A quick way to do that, guys, paint in your area. Make sure you're clicking on your right layer. So paint in your area, put my nice color. You can see my gray then appearing. What I tend to do then to create those sort of subtle backgrounds, and you'll see it on my slides as well, guys. That's the way I achieved it. In that now, I've painted in there, and I'm going to go up to filter. I'm going to go down to noise. Okay, so my filter gallery noise, and I'm going to add noise. That brings up my little box here. I'm going to make it nice and big so everyone can see. For example, it's a bit like your sort of white noise on your TV. Okay, so I'm going to overemphasize here for a second. You can see what I'm getting. I'm getting that sort of texture in there straight away. So adding noise, you can create that. If you want to turn off your monochromatic, you will see it adding more colors. I generally keep mine monochromatic though. And you can keep it uniform or Gaussian. If you keep it uniform, everything will be more or less equal enough. Gaussian then gives a little bit of randomness to it as well, okay? But that amount is obviously way, way too much for me. I want to keep it nice and subtle. So I bring it all the way down to maybe even about 4. And you can see I just get that nice sort of, I'm going to go put it to uniform too as well, guys. Just get that nice, subtle sort of texture in there straight away, guys, okay? So again, if I go back to my original, I'm going to overemphasize here, but you can see the same sort of effect there. What I might want to do now then is add in some sort of light effects to that. It's simply to add in a sort of gradient overlay to that too. Okay, so again, with my color selected, I'm going to maybe select a bit of a lighter gray this time as well. Going from my foreground to background there. So click OK. And now I'm going to use my gradient tool. My gradient tool up here. Up to my gradient, you see my options bar changes up here as well once I select that. And I want to go from my foreground to background color. Okay, I could go from foreground to transparent, anything I want there. But foreground to background color will always be your initial option up here. So I'm just going to click OK. Click that one. Then I'm going to use maybe just a bit of a radial gradient, linear, radial, you've got all your options here. And again guys, don't forget, simply mouse over and your alt will come up to tell you what exactly each of these functions does. So with my radial gradient then selected, I'm going to click around the center of my document, drag out. Okay, you can hold on shift to constrain those proportions if you wanted to. Okay, and you can see, oh, actually mine is going the wrong way around there. Okay, it's going to undo that, Control Z, and it's going to go reverse. I could actually even change my foreground and background here too, so either or, because I want to go from sort of lighter out to darker. So again, dragging from the center out. Okay, and you can get that sort of nice effect. And then what you can do is simply add maybe an overlay or something like that, and straight away then guys, you get that sort of nice light effect, sort of a larger glow towards the center, getting a little bit darker then towards the outer edges. Okay. Okay, just a second now. So just double checking, is everyone clear on that so far? Just everyone clear on that so far, guys? Coming through there, yes, everyone is clear on that. Okay, great, great. Can you show that overlay again? Anna's asking. Okay, just very quickly, yeah. I'm going to zoom in here again for a second. So for example, I'm going to set my option there to normal for a second. I'm using my overlay and my blending options, guys. Remember we looked at our blending options in lesson 4 as well. So with my overlay then, you can see my normal now, there's no transparency applied to it. Okay, is there 100% transparency? If you wanted, you could reduce the opacity a little bit too as well. So I'm reducing my opacity down a little bit. Okay, and you can see a little bit lighter, getting towards darker. But what I find handier is to use some of your blending options. So go up to normal, go up to overlay. All of these will, by the way, lighten them, guys, okay? So overlay. And you can see then I still have my noise coming through, my little bit of texture, okay, but I also have going from a nice sort of lighter to darker area there, just to give that nice sort of background that you can get away with doing these very effectively for screen. For print, you could run into some issues as well, guys, okay? Paris has very nice effect. Okay, indeed. So basically, guys, that's how you achieve that type of effect there, all right? And it could be any color, by the way, guys. It doesn't have to be gray or black or white. Now, let's move on. So finally then, to move on to get maybe this sort of effect here with my sort of shadows, and I'll go through it now with the image as well. I'm just going to zoom in again. I'll do it nice and big so everyone can see, guys. I'm going to turn on my grid just for the fun of it. I'm just going to simply now draw in a square area, any old square there. I'm going to set my color back to black and white, back to white, set my foreground color back to white. And I've selected my marquee tool there, guys. That's why I drew out my square, and I'm simply just going to click in. And there I have my white square there now as well. I'm just going to call that square. So, but to get that sort of shadow effect, excuse me, to get that sort of shadow effect, like it looks like it's sort of popping up off the screen then, what you need to do for that is this, okay? So there's my initial sort of top of my square. I'm going to duplicate that layer, Control and J to duplicate it. Okay, and I'm going to call this one now shadow. It's slightly different from adding, say, a drop shadow because it's not going to give you that sort of 3D effect as well. Okay, so on my shadow layer now this time, what I can do for my shadow layer is I'm actually going to paint it in. You could go grey. I'll just go black for now so you can see a little bit clearer. So it's going to paint in that square now again. Okay, and I'm actually going to just drag this layer, my shadow layer, underneath my square now this time. You obviously cannot see it there now, it's being hidden, but I want to drag it underneath. Because what I want to do now is apply a transform to it, okay? So I'm going to go up to Edit. Excuse me, guys, just take a sip of water for a second, thank you. Thank you for that, guys. So Edit, I'm going to go down to Transform, and I'm just going to actually distort it. So I'm going to click my Distort. And what I can do now, it brings up all my little nose, my little handles here. I can actually simply just drag out then. Again, you can hold shift if you want to constrain proportions. I don't really want to for now. I can actually just drag out then and make it nice and big so people can see. Drag out then, sort of distort that shape. Okay, and I'm happy with that. I can simply click my commit or return or whatever I want. So commit transform. And there I have that sort of a shadow effect there now straight away. But again, it's not looking brilliant at the moment. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Filter. I'm going to go to Blur and apply a Gaussian blur now this time too. Okay, and again, I'm going to over exaggerate for display purposes. You can have as much or as little as you like. So you can bring it all the way up there if you want. I'll just make sure everyone can see it. So I've applied a little bit of a blur there to give it a bit more realism. And then what you can do after that then as well is simply reduce down your opacity too. So you get that effect there straight away. And you can see here, if it's already going off a little bit, I'm simply going to just distort that again. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform again, go to Distort, and I'm just going to drag in some of the areas there so I'm not seeing them. So you're seeing it just from the edges there, guys. So with your Distort function, you can do that there again. Simply apply that. And now when I zoom out and turn off my grid, okay, you can see that's how we get that sort of effect there as well, guys. And do experiment with things like your opacities and things like that too as well. See, my opacity is quite high there. Maybe bring it down a little bit and you get that type of effect. Okay. Just a second now as well. Paulina is asking, how can I save my settings so that I can quickly open all the windows I have on the right exactly as they are right now? Exactly. Just a second now, Paulina. Sorry, one more time. How can I save my settings so that I can quickly open all the windows I have on the right? Example, layers and color adjustments. Okay, so yeah, I think what you mean is to display them. You can go to Window, Arrange, and you can tile all vertically. That will then bring up each of my individual tabs then, so I can see them all side by side. So I can click into each one. So I can click into my original one. I can click into that. I can click into the one beside it. So up to Window, Arrange, and you can tile them whatever way you like. But what you mainly think is to tile all vertically. Okay, so that's how you do that. But I'm going to consolidate all mine back into tabs so people can see nice and clear. I'm actually going to close down some of these. I don't need them anymore. Just close those down and close that down. Okay. Don't need to save that. But guys, that's how you get that effect basically, alright? But if you were to apply that now for, say, an image this time, and this is a quite handy one too, just going to create a new document. Going to make it a little bit bigger so people can see. It doesn't really matter the sizes here, guys, by the way, guys, just making sure that everyone can see clearly. I'm going to open up now, file open. This time I'm going to open up an image. I'm going to go with an old phone here for demonstration purposes again. So you can see here now, guys, I've opened up my sort of iPhone image. I'm going to just Control A to copy all of that, Control A to select it all, Control C to copy. I'm just going to paste that into my new document then as well. So simply Control V to paste it in. I'm just going to resize it now very quickly. I'm just dragging at the edges to constrain those proportions and resizing. But basically what I want to show you is how the same principles can apply to images also to give you that really, really nice effect. So just drag my phone into place there now for a second again. Okay, and I'm happy enough with that there now. So, because lots of people have been asking about this, so I said I'd put this together for you guys. Just wondering how you get that sort of Apple sort of glow to those images and things like that as well, folks, okay? So I'm just going to turn off my background layer for a second, because you can see I have a bit of a white outline along my phone there. So very quickly to get rid of that white outline, a few different ways. You can select your magic wand tool or your quick selection tool, or you can of course select your lasso tool that again we used in lesson 3, guys. So we used our lasso tool back in lesson 3 as well in our composites. But I'm just going to use my quick selection tool or even my magic wand because it's just on white. So using your magic wand, I can then click on the white and you can see that it's selected all that white area. Now it's not 100% accurate in here, you can see, but to be honest with you for now, it's close enough for demonstration purposes, okay? So I'm going to go Control X to delete all of that area, and now if I want to, I'm going to zoom in. Now if I want to, I can then maybe use my polygonal lasso tool just to cut out that other area there. So I'm just dragging along the area that I want to get rid of. You can see my little ants then appearing, and Control and X. Again, just to delete that area. So now it's on basically a transparent background, guys. Okay, my image is now on a transparent background. So I can then work with it a little bit easier. I'm going to turn on my background again for a second though. Okay, turn on my background there for a second, and now I'm going to name my layer, double clicking to name my layer. I'm going to call it phone. I'm going to duplicate that layer this time, Control J, and I'm going to call this reflection, L-E-C-T-I-O-N. Okay, and again, same principles, guys. I'm dragging my reflection underneath my phone layer. Okay, but now what I want to do is I want to update up to edit, I want to go to transform. And this time I just want to basically flip it. Okay, so we're going to end up with a sort of a glass reflection type of effect here as well. So I want to flip it vertically. Okay, so flip vertically. You can see then it has flipped vertically underneath my other layer. So I need to drag that down again. Drag it all the way down. So you can see it's sort of at a little bit of an angle here. Okay, so if you can imagine if this is your sort of desktop, if this is just your sort of horizon line here basically, guys, okay, you can see it's not sitting correctly because I do have it at a slight angle. So very quickly up to edit. Few different ways to do this, but I am a big fan of my distort. I think it works perfectly well. So I'm going to go to edit, distort. With my handles now I can simply just distort that image ever so slightly. So I know it's lining up there perfectly too, guys. Okay, it depends on the image you're working with, guys. Okay, it does depend on the image you're working with, but I find this works generally quite well. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. Again, I am working at speed, guys, so you will forgive me for not being 100% accurate in all of this. So Maj is asking, how do you do the second phone? I simply duplicated the layer, so Control and J duplicated that layer, and then I had a brand new layer with a phone on it. So it simply duplicated my phone layer, Control and J. So here I go with my reflection now. Again, it looks a little bit too clear there for now, so I'm going to go up to Filter. Again, I'm going to go up to my blur, and I'm going to lots of different blurs here, by the way, guys. I tend to use my Gaussian blurs more than anything else, but you have huge amount of options there in your filter galleries. And like I said, we go through filter galleries in much detail in the advanced course as well, guys. So, but do have a play around them in your own time. So I'm going to apply another Gaussian blur this time. Again, you can see it's been applied there straight away. So now it looks like it's sort of sitting on a sort of a glass worktop or something like that. Again, you can apply as much or as little blur as you want. Don't forget to click on and off your preview, by the way, guys, to see the changes you are making as you're making them. So click on your preview. I'm going to bring mine down to around 5-ish pixels, I think is pretty okay there for now. So click OK. Now, that's not bad as it is. It's not too bad as it is, but I want to sort of create that sort of gradient effect. So it's getting a little bit less as the reflection goes down through. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a new layer. So I'll click New Layer. I'm just going to click this and type in Gradient, I-E-N-T. Okay, and now what I'm going to do on this layer, so I'm going to select my white for my foreground color. So switching my colors here, selecting white for my foreground color. Okay. I am now going to select my gradient tool. And again, go up to your gradient, your options panel will change. I want to make sure it's a linear gradient this time. So linear gradient. But I want to make sure it's my second option. So I'm going to go from white to transparent. So if this was black, if the color down here was black, that would be black. If it was red, this would be red. It can be whatever color you want. Just make sure it's going to transparent. Okay? Because you'll see what I mean now in just a second. And finally, I'm just going to use my marquee tool again. My rectangular marquee tool. Drag, oh, Control D, my bad. Drag out the area I want. So I want my gradient now to appear sort of just in underneath my phone there. So on my new layer, I'm on my gradient layer, clicking my gradient option. I'm going from white to transparent. And now I can actually just start dragging in. Even if you want to go to a slight angle for the fun of it, you can. Start dragging in. And there we go. As you can see there now straight away. Okay, I now have that nice sort of reflection straight away. Just in a few simple steps. I simply reflected it, added in my gradient, and now you can get that nice sort of apple effect. A few more things I can do for this as well, just before I move on. So, clicking on my layers panel again, going to add in a new layer. I'm actually going to turn off this time. Let's turn off my layers here so you guys can see. So this time now, one more shadow this time for the fun of it. Because this is an effect that's used quite a lot as well. So this time I'm going to switch my gradient now back to black. As the who was that? Was it not Led Zeppelin or who was that? Back to Black. I forget that song. But anyway, so like I said, this time I'm going to use my elliptical marquee tool. This time, okay. Drag out. It doesn't matter about the size. Okay, drag out a nice big circle there. It doesn't matter because I can change the size afterwards. Click on my gradient tool again. This time you can see I'm going black. So I'm going black to transparent this time, okay? But this time, guys, I want a radial gradient. So clicking my radial gradient this time, and then simply dragging out from around the center out. Okay, you can see I've created that sort of effect. Again, I've gone a little bit overboard there too, but it doesn't really matter for now. Again, so there's my sort of darker going out to sort of softer edges. Okay, I'm actually going to bring that down so people can see. And again, same thing, guys. I'm going to go up to filter. Actually, I'm going to resize it first. So Control T to resize it. I can drag down then my size. I'm just transforming, just a regular transform this time. I'll be dragging down that size, putting it underneath. Bring in those areas. Again, I'm going to even bring it down a little bit more. I'm happy enough with that so far. Okay, commit or click apply for that. Again, another quick, nice little Gaussian blur for the fun of it. Best friend Gaussian blur, you cannot beat it. So, moving up then as well. Okay, moving up then as well. Nice 10 pixel version there. Click OK. And again, if you want to bring down your opacity again this time, maybe bring it down to about 70-80% or so. You can see there now. So now we have a nice sort of shadow effect there as well. So I can bring it underneath. Or if you want to even make it look like it's sort of floating in midair, you can drag that shadow down there as well. All right. Simple secret, says Andrew. Okay, guys, just give me a second here. Now I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Give me a quick yes if sound is okay for everybody out there. 1 or 2 issues with audio. Okay. For anybody having issues, some people saying it's a little bit distorted, please try logging out, logging back in, because sound is good for 99% of people here. So if there's audio issues, please just try maybe log out, log back in, guys, as well, guys. Okay, but it seems to be pretty okay for everyone out there so far. Okay, just take a quick sip of water while I have the little break here. I'll be back to you in a second. Okay, and we're back again. So like I said, guys, that's another little shadow effect there for you. Again, looks really good on screen. And that's how you achieve that type of look. So one more thing just before we continue on then. I'm going to turn this bad boy off as well. Make another duplicate of my phone this time. Control and J. And I'm just going to call this one Shadow 2 for the fun of it. Okay, so this time now, a little quick tip for you. I'm actually going to turn off my phone layer for a second. I'll turn off my phone layer. Little quick tip as well, guys. I'm on my Shadow 2 layer this time. I want to select all of this layer though with my marquee. But a little quick tip. If you hold down Control and click into your little icon area on the layer. So clicking in, and you will automatically then select all of that area. You will, no matter what type of thing it is, you will automatically then select in all of that area as well. Okay, guys, just a little quick tip for you there as well. Because what I want to do is I actually just want to paint with my paint bucket, just paint in that area black. Oh, actually, yeah, this is interesting, guys. I will generally always do this on a new layer. You can see it hasn't really happened for me very well from there. So what I will generally do is select a new layer. You can still see it's all selected and paint in then black on that area. Now see, and get rid of that again. I can actually get rid of my shadow layer now again. This time you don't need it. So SHADOW. Okay, so there's my shadow layer. Again, guys, you can of course alter this after the fact too. But I'm going to turn my phone back on now again. Okay, drag it above it. Okay, I'm happy with that. And this time again, guys, up to your edit. Oh, making sure you're on the correct layer. I'm on my shadow layer. Up to your edit again. Down to good old transform or distort. It could be perspective as well. A few different options here, guys, but I'm just a fan of using my distort. I think it works generally quite well. I can then distort that shadow. Dragging in my other areas there. Maybe even, I'm going to over-exaggerate this just for the fun of it. Dragging in all those areas. Okay. I'm happy enough with that for now. Okay, up to click OK, click apply. Again, a quick good old little distort or blur there for my cells. Nice little simple Gaussian blur again. I can reduce down the opacity. Same principles. Reduce down. And now it looks like I'm sort of casting light on it from the front, and the shadow is then reflected back onto my background of my page then as well. Okay, so like I said, a few little tips and tricks there for everybody there. Everybody clear on everything I've covered there so far, guys, okay? Because you can get some nice techniques with all of this. Loving the shadow techniques. Okay, brilliant. Well, that's how you achieve it, guys. So just for the fun of it, if I turned everything on there now, a little bit over extreme, but Why not? So you can imagine now all my different elements. And like I said, guys, it works the same for any images. It could be even cutouts of people. This sort of shadow effect can work quite well for that as well. So it can be anything at all, guys. All right. Okay. Good stuff. We're getting through quite a lot here as well. Lama's asking, how can I use Control and Z many times? I can only Control and Z one time. Okay, very quickly. Control and Z will step back one step. Okay. So for example, okay, but if you want to step back after that, if you want to step backward again, okay, you can Control and Alt to Z. So Control Alt to Z will keep stepping back, and you can also open up your history too. But I find just Control Alt to Z will keep stepping back. So Control Z for your first run, Control Alt to Z then for your second, third, fourth iteration after that. All right, no problem at all. Okay, so moving on then again, guys. One or two more things before we finish up some elements. I want to show you how to make your buttons, basically, folks, okay? So again, I'm just going to open a new document. Make it nice and big as well for everyone to see. Okay, so this time now I'm going to create a button. Now I'm going to create a new layer. I'm just going to go B-U-T-T-O-N. And I'm going to select maybe a nice sort of a nice luminous bright green just for the fun of it here for my buttons. Why not? Okay, again, if you're a nerd like me, you would actually know your measurements. So I'm going to make it a nice sort of luminous green so everyone can see, keeping with my color scheme from my original there. And a few different options here. I can use my marquee tool as well if that is my want. Okay, or you could simply use your shape tool then as well. Under your shape tool, you get some nice options too, because you can even have obviously a stroke align, just like in Illustrator, guys. You can have a stroke aligned to your shapes. You can have a nice rounded rectangle tool. You can even select the amount of roundedness that you want, for example, as well. So, for example, I would select my rounded shape there, my round rectangle tool. I can even set the radius of the roundness. So if I drag that out now, okay, I'll drag it out nice and big so everyone can see. Okay, it fills it up, of course, with my fill, which is my green. But I can even change the radius. So if I wanted like a really, really round radius, okay, I can do the same thing there. Oh, my bad. Do it again. Sorry. So this time, you can see my radius set to 25. If I drag out the same thing, you can see my radius then changes on that, guys. Okay, that's how you do that. But I'm just going to get rid of this guy again for a second. Either or. Delete him. Don't need him. So to create a nice sort of button effect then as well, guys, this is where your layer styles comes into play here. All right. Our Power is asking, is it better to create the buttons in Illustrator and create shadows or effects in Photoshop? Either or, Ampara, generally, it depends what you're working with, either or. So if you're comfortable in Illustrator, you can still achieve all of these exact same effects as well. Okay, so either or doesn't really matter, okay? Illustrator can be handy if you want to get technical about it for saving what we call .svgs. Okay, it's a type of file format that you can use. It can be handy used for coders, specifically for the web. Okay, so there's my rounded rectangle. I'm just going to double click into this guy now for a second to bring up my layer styles. So I've double clicked on the layer, drag it over here as people can see. I've opened up my layer styles then as well, guys. Okay, just take a sip of water again for a second. Excuse me. Okay, thank you. I'm going to apply a few different layer styles to this now. The first thing I'm going to apply is basically a stroke. Now I could have included my stroke on that, but just for the fun of it, I want to actually add, instead of a solid color, it's come up as red by default there, by the way, guys. Instead of a solid color, I'm actually going to apply a sort of a gradient, which you can do, which can be quite a nice effect as well. So I'm going to click my gradient this time, and again you can double click in, and you can select whatever colors you want for your gradient within here then too, guys. So again, I want to create that sort of nice sheen effect as well. So sticking with my sort of greenish sort of colors there as well to get that nice effect. Just bear with me now for a second, try to remember this, my colors. And of course, generally for your gradient, you're going to be going from a sort of a lighter to a darker of the same hue, basically. So it's sort of a tint and a shade of the same color always works very, very good for your gradients. I generally don't advise mixing sort of multicolored gradients. They look a bit amateurish, to be honest with you. Okay, look a bit like a rainbow effect. But you can see there, I've applied now on my stroke, I've actually applied a gradient all the way along that too. Can be quite a nice effect. You can even change the angle of your gradient. You want to maybe change them up and down, going from top to bottom. Lots of different options there, guys, okay? So huge options there for everybody. I'm going to click out there again for a second. Again, you can change the size of it. Bring the size stroke up or down, all your layer styles. I want to keep it nice and fine though, guys. I don't want to go too extreme. Maybe down to now around about a 3 there. I'm happy enough. That's my stroke applied. Next thing, maybe I'm going to apply is maybe inner shadow this time too. Okay, bring my opacity all the way up. Okay, inner shadow. I'm going to set my inner shadow though to white. I'm going to set the color to white. And you can see there now, my inner shadow now starting to apply there. I'm getting more of a sort of 3D-ish type of effect once I apply that sort of inner shadow there then as well, guys. I think it can be sort of quite nice as well. And again, do play around with your settings here too, guys. Okay. And you can see it coming in there now straight away. You see my white sort of inner shadow just on the edges there straight away. Alright, so moving on then as well, after inner shadow. This can be quite a nice technique as well to get that sense of depth and create that illusion of depth, is to apply your gradient overlays. Okay, so go and apply another gradient over this time and click that on and off. But what you can do, if you bring down your opacity, because it will work for any color basically, is to go black and white. Okay, so I'm going to apply a straight black to white gradient there as well. Okay, click OK. But this time now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my opacity order down and set my blend mode. You can even change your blend modes within all of these. So if I set that to a nice overlay, bring down my opacity down to about 50 or so, you can see I'm already getting that nice sort of more tactile feel to that button there straight away as well, guys. Okay. And then finally, if you want to click on a wee bit of drop shadow as well, just for the fun of it too. Actually want to scale up my gradient there as well, make it a little bit clearer. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer. And finally then, a little bit of drop shadow there too. You don't need to go too mad with this. Again, I tend to make them just nice and soft. Nice and soft as well. My drop shadow, going to keep it as multiply to bring back that shadow. Going to set my opacity all the way down, maybe about 20% or so, 25%. Again, then of course change the angle. I just want it coming straight on. So I'm actually going to change my angle to 90 degrees. So it's coming straight down. You can see it there now. It's not coming from any other angle. And again, you can start playing around with your distances then too. You can go as much or as little as you want, but I tend to keep them very fine when I'm using these effects. Otherwise, it can just look a little bit out of sorts. Okay, so there we go, guys. So I think that's a relatively pleasing enough button there for the sake of a 2-minute job. Okay. So click OK then as well, folks, alright. So there you go, guys, that's to create a very simple button. The great thing about this is, if you want to even, you can even toggle on and off your effects. So say I toggle that off, all my effects are now toggled off. If I toggle my effects back on now, you can see where they all come in and off there straight. You can even toggle each one on and off here. So say I toggle off my gradient, say I toggle off my inner shadow, you can see what each of them is doing, even my drop shadow, you can toggle those all on and off. Alright, which is very handy. Won't the layer style affect the file size? It will affect, of course, the Photoshop, the PSD size llama, but when you're saving for web, as a ping, as a .png, this will not be an issue because you're going to flatten down your image all into one layer essentially when you're saving it as a ping. Okay, but obviously for a Photoshop file itself, for that PSD, which is obviously not going to be displayed on the web, this is just your elements, it will affect your file sizes, but not then when you flatten it down basically. Okay. Oh, okay, brilliant. And one more tip then before we, just before I finish up as well, guys. The great thing about your layer styles is this. Say you want to create another button this time. I'm just going to create, just for the fun of it, a different type of button this time. Go on to a new layer. Create a new layer. Okay, this again could be any shape you want. Doesn't really matter, folks. Okay, just going to create a new one there this time so everyone can see. I'm going to drag that onto my screen there. Because what you can do is now you can do this. This is very handy again for saving your styles. You can actually just right click on your rounded rectangle layer now. And I'm going to go copy layer style. And what you can do, click on your polygon layer now. And simply right click and then you can paste layer style. and boom, there we go. The exact same settings are now applied to that layer, which is very, very handy. Not just for buttons, it could be whatever you're working on. It could be for text, whatever it is. So it's just a very, very, very handy to realize that too as well, folks. Okay, and like I said, you could even apply it to text. Actually, just for the fun of it. Now, this experiment could end badly, but just for the fun of it, we'll see if we can apply it to some text. So I'm going to type in some text. Okay, make it nice and big for everyone to see. Okay, so I'm going to make it a good old Helvetica bold, or even black for the fun of it. Yeah, why not? Okay, bring up my size so people can see it a little bit clearer. 280, say. Oh, maybe not. 210. Okay. And now again, let's see what it looks like when you apply that to some text. So again, right click, paste layer style. I know I can do this because I've already saved the layer style, by the way, guys. I've already pasted another one. But see what it looks like, paste layer style. And again, you can see it there applied to your text as well, guys. So like I said, can be very, very handy as well, guys. Can be very, very handy as well. All right. Okay, is there any questions on that before we continue? Just a second as well. Lots of people going, I didn't know that, Salama. Very, very good. No questions. Looks like a logo, says Majan. Thanks a lot. Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, lots of people saying super handy tips coming through there. Brilliant, guys. Okay, like I said, we've created a good few different elements there as well. Again, people are happy with adding text to their images, aren't they? You can simply click your text box. Just one thing I want to make clear to people just before we finish up now as well, get the Q&A and stuff. When adding text, I'm just going to get rid of these layers for a second, turn them all off. A quick tip for adding text, okay? I'm going to bring my size down as well for a second. So quick tip for adding text. If you click with your type tool, if you click anywhere, so just click anywhere now, a new layer will be made, a new layer will be created. It's called layer 1 there now. I'm going to type in some text. This is my text, okay? But one thing to remember about is this is not now contained within a text box. So I'm going to have a little bit of issue when I go to try and edit it, okay? But what I would generally recommend when you're typing your text is click your type tool, okay? Then drag out your text box. You can see my little my little feet running around there. Okay, my little ants, some people call them that. Drag out your text box, and then this gives you much more control. Okay, so now we can start typing in that. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, because that then gives me much more control over the actual size of the text and the positioning and everything as well, guys. Okay, so for example, I can now align that left or right because it's in a text box. But if I was to resize my text box, my text then changes inside it. Whereas if I had to do this on my top one, where it's not in a text box, I would have to manually adjust it. So just a quick tip for anybody adding text onto their graphics there as well, guys. I would always recommend using the text box. Simply click and drag out your box, and then you can change the sizings afterwards too. All right? So just make sure you sort of follow that rule too. It can be quite handy. I can, of course, go in and change this after the fact, but you see I've got no box, so I have to actually manually adjust. You know, I have to actually manually move it around the place. Okay, so just to make you aware of that too. Can I rewrite? You can. You can simply double click into it with your type tool. Simply double click anytime you want, and you can rewrite then anything you want in that after then as well, folks. Okay. Just a second now again, folks. Okay, I think we've covered nearly everything there so far. Just one or two more little quick tips now just before we finish up as well, because I'm just going to have a look back at my originals here now. So we've created these icons are there. What I wanted to show you, another quick little tip for adding sort of sense of depth to as well, guys, for your designs. A few people ask me about how did I get this shape for what my clients say. I'll show you now quickly. I simply use my marquee tool. I drew out with my polygonal lasso tool. Again, you can turn on your grid, might be a handy one for this. I'm just going to turn on a new layer. I can get rid of these. So I simply drew with my polygonal marquee tool, so you can select it there. With my grid turned on, I simply clicked, dragged, hold down shift to constrain those proportions if you want. Click. Okay, clicking all the way around. Clicking all around. And I simply just drew out the shape then with my marquee tool. You can see my marquee tool then, you can see the little zero, the little circle, and it means I can now close that off. And you can see then all my little ants appearing then around the screen. And I can then paint in then any color I want. So once I turn all that off, that's how I create my little, that is how I created my wee text box there for that. Okay. Now, okay, and like I said, just one or two more things just before we finish now as well. I think find this one quite handy. Is this, okay? Say for example, you want to get a little bit more sort of texture into your documents then as well. So I'm going to just draw out, say, a background here for a second. Draw out a whole background actually, just for the fun of it, doesn't matter. Going to paint in my background with sort of dark grey color. Oh. You can see there, I'm not on a layer, that's why I got that message. So I need to put on a new layer. All my layers are turned off. So click in there, paint in. What I find quite handy to add that sense of depth to your designs too, is to give that sort of like it's like an inner shadow, but you can do it without actually using effects. You can use it just with lines. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and put another new layer. Select my marquee tool again. This time I'm going to select a color slightly darker than my original. I'm going to click in my color. I'm going to select maybe a little bit darker than my original. So that's okay. I'm going to draw out what is going to be a line. So just drawing. I can resize after the fact, so it doesn't really matter, guys. Worry about that. So click in there. I can resize that then if I want to. Again, with your measurements up here, you can set it to any size you want. By the way, if your width and your height are showing percentages as opposed to pixels, simply right click into them and select pixels, and you can save any other measurements there too, but we're working in pixels, guys. So simply right click in to select your pixels, and I want to actually ungroup, so make sure it's not grouped together now. Make sure that's turned off. Set my pixels about maybe the height of 2, say. Okay, so that's one sort of line. I'm going to now drag out, I'm going to actually duplicate that line, Control and J, move it down. And this time, I'm going to select a line a little bit lighter this time. So slightly lighter. Maybe about that. I'm going to over exaggerate it for display purposes. I'm going to use my paint bucket to paint my duplicated line in there. Oh, my bad, wrong one. So zoom in. Zoom all the way in. With my paint bucket tool this time, painting in my second line. Okay, and I'm going to move that into position. My arrow keys there, you can toggle that into position. Even bring it underneath that layer if I want to. And now, when I zoom out, I sort of have that impression of it sort of indenting into it. So all I'm doing there is again using different tints and shades of the same color to create that sense of depth, to give that sort of illusion of depth into my designs. I think it works quite nicely as well, guys, even as dividing lines for any of your elements too. Okay, everyone clear on that so far? I think that is it. Okay, brilliant, guys. Well, like I said, lots and lots of little different tips and techniques there for designing for the web, guys. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot there as well, guys. Covered quite a lot in that too. But like I said, you now have all the information to go away and create your own amazing designs too as well, guys. Okay, Premi is asking how to change the color of text. Simply click into it, Premi. So I'm going to bring up my text again for a second. Okay, simply with your type tool, simply click into your text, select whatever text you want to change color, and you can change from either your options panel or your main colors down here. So I'm going to click up my text, change that to whatever color I want, click OK, and that's how you change the color of your text. Okay, simple as that. Okay, how do you turn on the grids? Control and apostrophe will turn on your grids, guys. Control and apostrophe will turn on and off, will toggle on and off that grid as well. All right. Okay. Okay, guys, that's more or less today's class covered now as well. Like I said, we've gone through lots of tips and techniques for working in Photoshop for screen. So thanks a million. Lots of people saying really great tips there. Thanks a million, guys. Thanks a million. So really glad you enjoyed that too. Excellent. Well, like I said, guys, thanks a million to everybody. First of all, I just want to say, while I have everyone here as well, welcome, welcome, guys, and thanks a million for joining us up here. I know I'm going to be seeing most of you in our advanced course as well, guys. So, like I said, massive thank you to all who signed up with Shaw Academy in the last week. Absolutely delighted to have you all on board, and I'm sure you're going to love all of the courses as much as I do, as well. Okay. A few people asking there, who was that asking about when is the advanced course starting? We'll get to that in a second, Kate. But basically, with the way the advanced graphic design course starts, it goes over sort of 3 semesters. So it's 12 weeks long, but it goes over sort of 3 semesters, so you can actually jump in on different semesters if this is your want, or you can wait to start at the start as well. But over the 3 semesters, you can jump in any one, and you can sort of rotate around that way. So you can jump in any time. It's up to yourself as well, guys. Okay, so just to make you aware of that as well. So again, I know most of you should be aware of by now, but a few people joining us this evening for the first time. Just a quick reminder for anybody that hasn't heard yet or still thinking about signing up. Basically, Shaw Academy has recently reached 1 million students. Okay, so we've 1 million students studying with us, and to celebrate this is why we offered all of you guys, all of our amazing students, the opportunity to continue on your education at that discounted price. Okay, so it just means, look, at no longer sort of crazy fees for education and things like that. So you'll get top quality educators like myself, degree master educated like myself, for a fraction of the cost, guys, an absolute fraction. Now, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and this offer will expire this Sunday. That is 13th of November, guys. You can see on the screens there in front of you, it will expire this Sunday. So not much I can do about that personally, but like I said, it does expire. So, do get in there. If you're anything like me, and you tend to forget things or forget your schedule or check your emails the weekend, I would encourage you, do it sooner than later, guys. Do it sooner than later. Okay. Just a second now as well. Who was that? Abdullah. Asking about the price. Just a second, Abdullah. Oh, okay. It will be the same price. Okay. Okay, it will be locked in for life. So basically, you can stay with us for as little or as long as you like. You can cancel any time, so don't worry about that. Once you sign up before that date, that price is locked in, even if you want to rejoin us. Okay? Okay, is that okay? I think that should be okay, yeah? Okay, great. Just a second. Okay, Philip, just a quick one there again. Sorry, guys. Philip is saying, can you join a few more months to do more study? Yep, you can, of course, Philip. You can join whenever you like. But to be honest with you, you can join, but you will generally be paying the full price, okay? So I can guarantee you will get that discount in a few months' time. I don't want to see you paying full price for an advanced course that, to be honest with you, the advanced courses on their own are over €1,200, okay? So just to make you aware of that, and you can only get them from us. You can only be on the advanced courses if you're a member with us. It is simple as that. So I don't want you coming back to me in a few months having to pay the full price, where, if you're a bargain hunter like myself, it just makes more sense to do it now. Okay, even if you are even waiting a few months, it will still be a fraction of the cost of the advanced course. Okay, so I hope that makes more sense to you. Yeah. Okay, great. Again, a few emails while I have everyone here asking what would they recommend next, basically, to be honest with you. So this is what I'd recommend, folks. Okay, move on from graphic design part 1. Obviously, most of you here are going on to the part 2, the advanced graphic design, for a complete overview of design. And then after that, I'd recommend maybe specializing in some other courses. Just to make you aware as well, guys, while the offer is limited, places are also limited, okay? For the simple reason being, there's only one of me to spread around to everybody. So for advanced students to offer the support, to provide that full-time support, we do have to limit places. It is simple as that. So, you will get a lot more advantage out of it. I spend a lot more time with my advanced students. Okay, but like I said, I can only spend it with a finite number, so hence the places are limited for those. But obviously with the membership, you get sort of first call, guys. Okay, so get in touch with us here to reserve your places too as well, folks, for anybody wondering about that. Again, I just don't want people to be disappointed. And like I said, as for other courses after the advanced course, I highly recommend the photography, highly recommend the Photoshop, all of those areas, just to help you in your learning. The more experience you get in more areas, the better you will be. All right. And like I said, if it's for just personal options, professional use, it doesn't matter. They're all the same, guys. You will still get the same results, whether you're just coming from it from a hobbyist point of view, from a sort of professional to semi-professional point of view. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And like I said, yeah, I will be in touch with all of you as often as I can as well, guys. As often as you need me, all of the educators are here for you as well, okay? So like I said, people ask me about joining the advanced later on. You can, but you're going to be paying whacker money, or a lot of money, not more money than you are now. Okay, so with the membership, you obviously get access to all of the advanced courses. So it's by far the cheapest, guys. Absolutely by far the cheapest, all right? Okay, so any questions then on today's class? Mohammed is asking, is there a complete course for networking? Mohammed, we get lots of feedback from our students, okay? So if the demand is there, and that's what we constantly ask for feedback from you guys. So if you guys want to see something, if the demand is there, we will do it for you. Yes, we'll put that on for you, okay? So like I said, if the interest is there, that's what we can do as live educators over here, Mohammed, okay? Okay, like just a second now. Okay, lots of people ask me about the advanced course. Just a second now. Okay, I'll go through it quickly again, guys, about the advanced course. Obviously, all my blood, sweat, and tears has gone into it. I'm very, very proud of it. You know, even just check the websites, to be honest with you. I can't say anyone has ever regretted doing it, all right? So it's a logical next step. It's a logical next step. We go on to much more detail with our color theory, our layout theory. Again, much more creative techniques with the software too. And I know a lot of you started from scratch here on this course, and you've made massive developments, but you know, we're going to push on with even further from that too, if you can even imagine that. All right, so yeah, we're going to be pushing on to a lot of those areas. And again, even our advanced course, for example, depending on student feedback, we can actually even tailor classes. For example, on this month's course, on this term's course, for example, we included infographics. A lot of our students wanted to learn about infographics, so I actually created one specifically for that. Lots of people again asking for things like motion graphics, so we can tailor to specific needs as well, guys, okay? So just to make you aware of that as well. All right? Just a second now as well. Caitlin saying just reserve my spot. Caitlin, thanks a million. No problem for that. We'll see you on the advanced. And like I said, delighted to have you on board, Caitlin. Thanks a million for that. I know you've been quite a diligent student over the last few weeks as well anyway. So brilliant. Thanks a million for that as well. Okay. A few people asking how does it work? Again, like I said, it's in the three terms, three sort of sections. Essentially Tuesday, we look at the skills and we look at things like the theory apply to things, okay? And then after that then on the Thursday we do a more sort of a practical sort of lesson as well. But we also get lots of feedback from our students and essentially have a bit of a class discussion too as well, guys. So it's essentially sort of theory and sort of practical split up into those. Obviously they're all live and you have the recordings there if needs be as well, guys. Simple as that, okay? One or two people asked about the members already, so just while I have you here, ask about the on-demand courses. The answer is yes. People have asked me, can you watch those straight away? Yes, you can, okay? You can simply add those into your members area right now and you can start watching to your heart's content. You can watch the whole lot tonight if this is your want. Okay, so you can start adding those on demand to your student area straight away and start watching them straight away, guys. Okay, there's no obviously time constraints or anything like that on that too. Okay, so you can essentially binge watch if that is your bag. And as I mentioned, just to make you aware, yes, you do get access to absolutely everything. Okay, an amazing range of courses and you do get access to absolutely everything. So there's huge benefits, you know, there's huge benefits to being that member in any area, guys, whatever you're interested in. Okay, it doesn't matter. I know everyone is more interested in just design out there. There's more than likely something there for everybody, or even a member of your family, your kids, your partner. There will be something there for you because you can, of course, add on those 3 other members as well, guys, just to make you aware of that. And you know, people saying, you know, I know education is expensive. Guys, this is education for the price of 3 cups of coffee a week, to be honest with you. Not just for yourself, but for your family members, your kids, like I said, your siblings, your partner, whoever it is. You and those other 3 members that you can add into your account will get that price locked in forever. Simple as that, guys. So anyone that says education is not affordable, I'm sorry, but like, you know, I simply don't agree with you, okay? Because that is our job here, to make it as accessible as possible to absolutely everything. Absolutely everything, all right? So guys, a quick one again. If you want to access all those courses, new courses, if you want to create your own learning schedule, if you don't want any time constraints, if you want affordable education, type in info now, guys, and we'll get in touch with you there as well, okay? Again, even simple things like longer access to your final exam. And again, of course, guys, those free diplomas and free toolkits for all courses. Let me reiterate that, guys. Free diplomas and free toolkits for all full members. For all our premium members, you do get that. Okay, so make you aware of that. Otherwise, for non-members, you will be paying obviously separately for of those. So for all courses, you get those free diplomas and free toolkits as well as yourself and all the family as well, guys, as well as all the family as well, not just yourself, whenever you like. So let me take a quick sip of water. We'll go on then with the Q&A for any other outstanding questions then after that there as well, guys. Okay, just a second. Okay, just moving on. Heidi is asking, is there advanced photography? There is indeed, Heidi, and I would highly recommend it. It is a brilliant, brilliant course, Heidi. I'm actually taking it myself at the moment, would you believe? So there is advanced photography, and like I said, I do encourage anybody out there. Anita, okay, a few more things. People asking about Adobe. Yes, guys, for members, for all Show Academy members, there's a 15% discount off the Adobe Creative Cloud, or if you want to go down just the Photoshop Lightroom way, there's also 20% discount off that. So for all our members, for that Adobe discount, once you join up, send us through an email. We'll get those discounts out to you for those Adobe products as well, guys. Okay. Okay, so just make you aware of that there too as well. Okay, thanks a million for that. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Okay, just a second now. Okay, Evelyn, okay, I see my course. Okay, no problem at all. Just a second now. Jetmira is asking, so each course will cost €39 with the offer. No, Jetmira, let me be clear on this. The €39 entitles you to do every course you possibly want. It doesn't matter. It's basically, it's like Netflix, Jetmira. Let me be as clear as this. It's simply like having like a Netflix account or Spotify account. It's one price. You can watch as little or as often or as much or as little as you want. It's completely up to you. There's no other costs, okay? So there's no other cost. So it's not just one course, it's any course you want. But just to reiterate, guys, the advanced courses is where a lot of this really pays off because, like I said, you know, you're only paying full price for those, and you need to be a Show Academy member. You need to be a member with us to complete those advanced courses. It is simple as that. But you're getting them now for less than a tenth of the price of what they should be, folks. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. As simple as that. Okay. Okay. Just a second now. Claire, if you send us through to just the graphic.design at Show Academy, Claire, graphic.design at Show Academy. Garrett Williams is asking, is it just £29 for me and 3 other people, or £29 each? Garrett is asking, £29 for you plus 3 other people. So it's for the 4 of you, essentially, Garrett. So if you want to break it down, divide that by 4, it makes about $7.50 a month, okay, which is a bit of a no-brainer again. So it's for you, and you can chop and change those members, Garrett. Okay, so it's you plus 3 other people. No, you don't have to have 3 other people, it's just an option. But say even, you can even chop and change those members. So you can maybe one person on this month, kick them off next month. If you fall out, you can bring someone else on as well. Okay, so you can have up to 3 people, but you can chop and change those 3 people anytime you want also. Okay. Okay, just a second now. Nikita says, very happy that I've become a member. You're more than welcome, Nikita. Glad to have you on board. Okay, just a second now, Jordan. Can you reset the info? Okay, Jordan, do you get all the information in your emails, or if you check your login area, you check your student area, Jordan, you should have all of the information that you need in there too, guys. So either in the emails you received or in your student login area, guys, you can get all the information you need for that. Lama's asking, for today's lesson, how would you get rid of the selection tool? It won't work by pressing escape. Okay, Control and D, Lama, will deselect everything. So Control and D will deselect, get all those little ants, you know, your marquee tool off. We'll turn that off. So Control and D will get rid of that. Okay, just a second. Christopher Els, how would we bring all these elements together in the main document? I have each of them on a separate layer, Christopher, okay? So always contain in a separate layer, but then always maybe put relative elements into a folder, okay? So for example, would have like a heading folder, and in that could contain maybe menu, logo, things like that on different layers, okay? So it's simple as that, okay? Just a second now. Anna, if you have a question on tonight's lesson, please. Anna, if you can get to me, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. If you have a specific question on tonight's lesson. Tamina is asking, do other 3 additional users have to pay? Okay, guys, I'm repeating myself a little bit to make it clear. Okay, one last time. The 3 additional users do not have to pay. They are simply friends of yours, family, whoever you want. They do not have to pay anything. The subscription is per 1 person, but you plus 3 others can use it. Okay, and I hope everyone understands that. I don't want to be repeating myself again. Okay. Again, okay. Thanks for a nice lesson, says Rebecca. Can't wait to get trying these out. Yeah, yeah, Rebecca. There's some nice techniques there. Nice techniques there. So I think they're a bit of fun. How to do water reflection in landscape pictures, please? Mary Khalil is asking. Okay, Mary, interesting one. A lot of the same techniques that we looked at there tonight, Mary. But even in your filter galleries, you can actually, in your blur galleries, there is actually, I think there's a water blur in that too. So you can get those same sort of effects. I would say try it with the landscape image, for example, just with the techniques we did there tonight, okay? And even under your filter gallery, under your blurs, you can even get some water ripple effects and things like that. Apply that to your actual reflected image, okay? I don't have time to go through it there now, it'll take me a little while, but the exact same techniques, okay? Okay, just a second now. No problem at all, Mary. You're more than welcome. Alan is asking if I join the membership. And miss a payment, can I rejoin later on? Alan, if you join the membership before November 13th, okay, if you join before this offer, you can then, yeah, you can rejoin at a future time again, and you will always get that locked in discounted price, okay? So simple as that. So, but as long as you do it before November 13th, Alan, you can then rejoin at the same discounted price after the fact as well. Just a second now as well. Does the discount also apply to Photoshop? Jessica, we have an Adobe discount. It's a 15% discount off Creative Cloud, which is basically everything. Okay, Adobe Creative Cloud is what I use. It is absolutely everything. Okay. Okay, just a second now as well. Okay, just let me open up my screen here for a second, guys. It's going a little bit mad here for a second. So any other questions on tonight's lesson then? Okay, so no problem, Lama. You're more than welcome there as well. Okay. Halina is asking, could not see the add course for the advanced course. Okay, if you're having any issues, Halina, send us through an email. We'll get that sorted for you as well. Okay, we can get that sorted for you as well. No problem at all. Okay. Salman is asking, I'm a member. Yes, you can. As a member, Salman, you can do any course you want. Any course you want, Salman, basic or foundation or advanced, it doesn't matter. Okay. Amparo's asking, what is the correct way to save our images, buttons, or text for the web? Okay, if you're saving your images, you will generally be in either JPEGs or PNGs. I would generally recommend PNGs, Amparo.png, because you can then save the transparency as well, Amparo. So generally for PNGs. It depends though, sometimes you'll hear developers using .svgs, okay, but generally PNGs are for images for the web, okay? Okay, Nikki Hayes, no problem at all. Thanks a million for being here with us. Okay, thanks a million. Okay, just a second now as well. Who's that? Sebastian asking. Yes, Sebastian, the link is there. Just a second, Sebastian. Yeah, you can click that. You're doing it right now. Okay, Sebastian, yeah, you can click the link in there right now and you can become a member immediately, Sebastian. So simply click that button in your members area, or you will have received the email as well, Sebastian. So simply click in through there and you're welcome on board. Good to see you. Greet is asking, is there a limited time after the course for taking the exam? Greet, yeah. For non-members, okay, Greet. It will expire after 12 days. Okay, so it will expire after 12 days. Great. As members, though, there is no time limits on those. Okay. Thanks for the lesson, says Lukash. No problem at all. Okay. Just a second now as well, Jessica. If you had a question there, he said email. Okay, no problem at all. To save a file for the web, what is the format? Depending on the type of file, Tamina, it'll either be a .jpeg as an image or a .png as well. Okay. Okay, Aiva, excuse me about that. I'll get the support guys there to have a look at that for you, Aiva, about your members area. So I'll get them to check that for you as well, okay? And if you want to send us an email, and any courses you want to add, Aiva, let us know. We'll get that sorted for you too, if you're having issues with your area there. Okay? Okay, just a second now. Thanks again for the lesson. Okay, guys, no problem at all. Okay, just a second now. Quick question about the healing tool in Photoshop. Just a second. I was doing a design, I was just copying the image instead of healing it. Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong? Nikita Joseph is asking. Okay, Nikita, in your options panel, in Photoshop, in your options panel for your healing brush tools, okay, for your healing brush tools, you will have to, you can select these guys up here as well. So make sure your options panels is changed too. So for example, you might have your different areas selected below, current and below. The source could be sampled or pattern, so it needs to be sampled. Okay, so there's just different ones there. Make sure you got the correct one selected there depending on the job you're going for as well. Okay, so you have your options in your options panel up there too. Okay. Alan is asking if you are a member, the toolkits are free. Yes, Alan, if you become a member, the toolkits and diploma toolkits and exams are free for you, Alan. They're included in your membership subscription, basically. Okay. Just a second now. Just a second, Anna Lindsay again. The question about the what do you have your initial set of vertical lines? They are read in sets of 3. Okay, Anna. Yeah, basically that was the original of my setup. Okay, so when I was creating my initial document, I set them up that way. But you will be creating your own. Okay, so as simple as that. So I set them up in areas of 3. You can see there I've aligned to my different elements, but I'm still dividing up into my 960 pixel grids, okay? This one was a little bit more complex. So before I even went designing, I knew where each element was. So for example, look at my recent work. It's aligning up there perfectly with those. My little buttons are lining up there. So that is why I set up that way. That's just the way I work. You will create your own grids for that, okay? So that is just simply the way I created them for this website here. But like I said, if you want to add in more or less, simply turn on your rulers and simply just drag in from the side any others, those that you want to set up as well. So that was just the way I had mine set up, but you will set up your own depending on your own layout for yourself. Okay, simple as that. Okay. Just a second now. But why sets of 3 again? Okay, and again, because it is the way that I created that document. Okay, it was specific to my design. It was specific to my design. Simple as that. Okay, so again, you can see I've given myself space. I tend to give myself a little bit of space to work with. I won't have it all the way over. It just depends on the design you're creating. Okay, so I'm just giving myself a little bit more room to breathe there. So turn them off. Okay, you can see there, turn them on again. So I have them set up like that for myself to include spaces between my elements too. But again, it is specific to this particular design. When you're designing, you can draw out your own on your piece of paper, whatever you like, and you will create your own custom to your own design. Okay, simple as that. Can we type the distance we wish to drag the grid lines? In your options panel as well, you can position your guidelines. In your options panel, you'll see a change. You can actually add in manually the adjustments. Okay. Just a second, Gareth Williams. Can you remind me how to get the guideline up when you're moving an item to get it all aligned? Just a second, Gareth. Can you remind me how to get the guideline up when you're moving an item to get them all aligned? Not sure what you mean by that, Gareth. You can move your guidelines after the fact too as well. So for example, they're not set in stone. Okay, so you can move them after the fact too. Oh, but I think you're on about probably, I would imagine you are on about your smart guides. So go up to view, okay, and show, and you can have your smart guides turned on. Okay, so now when I go move around an element, you can see my little pink guidelines start aligning things up there for me as well. So there are your smart guides. All right, very, very handy. Okay, no problem at all. Just a second now as well. Christoph, okay, that was the distance, the grid lines. I just covered that. Thanks for another great lesson, says Nikita. Another 5 stars as usual. Thanks a million, Nikita. I appreciate it. And like I said, great to have you on board as well. And thanks a million for signing up with this. Looking forward to seeing you in that advanced course. Okay. So I think they're nearly there now, guys. Any other questions on that too? Okay, thanks for a great course, says Laurie. More than welcome, more than welcome. Okay. Thanks to Span, says Alan. Not sure what that means, but hopefully it means something good. Okay, guys, any other questions? Lots of people. Yeah, again, guys, people ask me, yeah, it's simple. Into your members area. Who was Alex is asking there? Yeah, click the link in either your email or your members area, guys, and you can sign up through there as well, folks. Okay, so simple as that. Do get in there before November 13th, guys, as well, because, you know, I don't want to you have people disappointed. Okay, and like I said, our next class now as well. Can't believe it'll be our final class, to be honest with you, but our next class is covering InDesign, how to set up documents specifically for print, for professional print. Going to be creating our own business card, and like I said, basically understanding as well how to set up documents for professional print and how to save them correctly and everything as well, guys. Okay, so it should be a very useful and interesting lesson for everybody out there too. Okay, see you next time, Terry. No problem at all. See you very, very soon. Okay, so thank you, says MJ. No problem at all. Okay, guys, any other questions on tonight's lesson then as well? I think that's nearly it for everybody out there so far. Okay, lots of people saying thank you for the great course. Well, guys, we're not finished yet. Like, I do appreciate it. And like I said, I know I'll be seeing most of you anyway in the advanced course. There are, but like I said, guys, let me reiterate, for me to give the level of support to you guys, the places are much more limited as well, okay? So do avoid disappointment, guys. Please do avoid disappointment. And like I said, no, you can of course join in the future as well, but like, I don't see any point in coming back at full price. It actually just makes more sense to avail of the discount offer, guys. Take it while it's there. It's it's a no-brainer, folks. So simple as that. To get my valuable expertise on all of your designs, and myself and the team here as well. Okay, really benefit from your lesson, says Mohammed Hassan. Thanks very much, Mohammed, as well. Thanks, Siobhan. Okay, hope we'll see you now in lesson 10 as well, guys. So we'll see you in lesson 10. Liz Clay. Okay, Liz. Actually, I'll double check that. Make sure your account, Liz, of course, was our lifetime membership winner. So I'll double check, Liz, that your account is set up for that. And you should be able to add that in as well, Liz. But I'll double check that for you. Okay. Lama says, this is my first course in English. Glad to have it with you. Thanks a million. And thanks again, Felicity. Very enjoyable. Okay, guys, like I said, join us again for lesson 10. Again, for anybody that missed out, if you're looking for more information, I think I made everything pretty clear to you. Type in INFO into your question boxes if you want more information, or if there's anything unclear on any of that so far, guys, on the discounted offer that we're running here. But I think everything should be clear enough, guys. I don't want to spend too much more time on it. I think it's as clear as I can possibly make it to you. It's a bit of a no-brainer. No reason why not to. Absolutely no reason why not to. You're as well just keep going, guys. Keep going and progress. 3 times as much in our advanced course as you have in this foundation course. And I think everyone has made leaps and bounds even in the last 4 weeks. Okay, just 1 or 2 more questions coming through there as well. Okay, who's that? Carl, I think, is just asking. The price I see is in pound and sterling. Yeah, the price I see there, Carl, is euro, pound and sterling, or euro, sterling, excuse me, and dollar. Please check your members area, but they're basically geo-priced, okay, which means they're priced depending on your locality. So please check your members area and email to receive the offer in your own local currency. So check your members area, log into your members area, or check your emails for the offer in your own local currency, okay, just to make you aware of that. There's 20 plus other currencies out there depending on where you are in the world. I know we have students here from all over. So please check those for your own local currency too, guys, okay? Okay. Now, just a second. Okay, see you next time. Yeah, Felicity saying I'm in Canada. Yeah, Felicity. So, like I said, if you check your members area, Felicity, or your emails, you should get the offer in your local, obviously, Canadian dollar. All right. Okay, good. I think that is nearly it for everybody so far. Gareth Williams says amazing work. Thanks a million, Gareth. I appreciate it. So, guys, I don't want to keep it too long. Okay. And like I said, I'll see you all back here again for lesson 10, folks, our final lesson. But like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing nearly everybody here in the advanced course as well, guys. So thanks a million for that, and really looking forward to it. So like I said, I'll see you all back here again for lesson 10, looking at InDesign, creating business cards, and how to set up our documents properly for print. So when signing off for print, it's going to come back the exact way we want it, guys. All right. So thanks a million. See you very, very soon. And this is Kevin, and I am designing off, guys. Bye-bye.